So, welcome Tim. Thanks for coming in. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us why you're running?
Yeah, I'm Foran. I'm a fourth year joint honours student. I'm president of comedy, used to be president of history society as well. And I'm running because I've been involved in the union through clubs and societies for the best part of 4 years, and I think there's a lot of improvements that can be made.
Brilliant. So in your manifesto you talk about, we'll take first the issue on Charity Week. There's been a proposal already this year to cancel it. What would you think of that?
Well, I would be against it, obviously. Just for a simple fact that Charity Week is an integral part of student life in university. It's kind of some of the best memories you have because you get to experience university from a different view, not just purely academic. I mean, this year passed off without any major incident due to the students actually acting responsible. I would keep it going. Obviously, the events in Charity Week would need to be improved for it to keep going because donations are low. The way to do that would be to bring students back into the campus. That can be done. I mean, I made a point in my manifesto that clubs and societies can be included in this. So, because they're not really utilised and they're a great asset to the union. The main way to do this would be that if they run events, they would get budget points towards those events that would build up at the end of the year.
If you had been president this year, what would you have done differently?
Publicity, I suppose, and interaction with the student body would have been huge things. Over the 4 years, I mean, when the CNSO or the CSO officer and the communications officer were taken out, the Students' Union has suffered a big dip in publicity. If I had been the president, I would have really been more open about what I was doing. I would, even with the health centre, with things when the fees came in, there wasn't any information. The referendum, another big thing, there wasn't a lot of information about it. Students didn't know what was going on. They felt very kind of separated from the representatives they had elected. So just to utilise the media that's available here through Focal at UFM, yourselves, Thomond Student Times. And
on the health centre, you talk about what you do in terms of the fees there. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, we've inherited a situation now that fees are in place already, and realistically there's a very good chance that we won't be able to remove them completely. The best way to get that is get the students interacted with the student union, let them know the information, what's going on, get them to rally behind the students' union, make one strong clear message to them that this isn't acceptable for students who are living in this climate to be paying a fee for basic vital services. However, if the fee cannot be removed, what we can definitely do is ensure that there is no further increases in the fees already existing, that there is no fees to the other vital services in UL such as counselling, and also to try and negotiate even just a slight reduction in the fees. As well as that, one thing that could be done and looked at, and talks held with the health centre, is try and get them to accept the medical card, because that's a big thing that students who are not really well off, it affects them really, really bad if they to have it.
Even on the counselling issue, you talk in your manifesto about exam stress and the problems associated with that. What would you propose to do, I assume, in conjunction with the welfare officer, in order to alleviate that a little bit?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, it would be with the welfare officer. I mean, the SPATs are a team, and they need to work as a team and all it is. Welfare stress, exam stress. Yeah. Exam stress affects a lot of students. I mean, from the FYP, I'm just after finishing my FYP 2 weeks ago. I have a lot of mates that finished it last week. There was a lot of stress going with it. There's some guys I know that's even got to hospital due to stress. The service aren't provided in the middle of the term. Yeah. The exam hub is always there during exams to kind of provide a bit of support. So what I would propose to do would be actually to implement a midterm hub for 3 weeks, week 6, week 7, week 8, that when the FYPs and the midterms, because it's just not 4th years, that goes all the way down, that they have a lot of deadlines to meet, that there's something similar to the exam hub available for them, and also a counsellor from the counselling office here in UL, that they will be made available, so if anyone has any serious issues, support is there provided for them.
Brilliant. You talk about making the union a more open place. Can you tell us a bit about something you'd proposed that would make the sabbatical team more approachable to the average student?
Yeah, At the minute there is a problem, and from my personal experience in first and second year, and even right up now with fourth year, from people I've talked to, they don't feel that the union is very approachable. Even the layout of the union, and that's just a building that's here. It doesn't have the spats are down the corridor. The one way I would, and an easy way, I think, a way to combat this is when you go approach the Sabat's door, you're faced with a big thick wooden door, and it's very intimidating. You don't know what's on the other side, you don't know what they're doing, are they busy or they're not. You feel very unwelcome. That's what the vibe I've been getting from a lot of students. So I would propose is to actually replace those wooden doors with glass doors, so that you can actually see your Sabat inside. Is he free? He'll probably wave on you to come on in, Yeah. It feels it's instantly more approachable. In issues where maybe privacy is an issue, I would advocate putting blinds maybe in the doors, so say in the case of welfare, if there's personal issues going on, just close the blinds. It's the exact same.
The student union finances in the last year have been some way steady. The budget is back in balance. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've written in your manifesto about this?
Yeah, the student union has made good progress this last year. They did inherit a very tricky situation. Clubs and societies gave them money. They adjusted the budget so that €60,000 a year would be given over to Students' Union to help on the financial. They've cut costs. Communication CSO officer were cut. A lot of the shop in Capavilla, Sparrows Hold, a lot of cost cutting was done, and now it's pretty balanced. However, if it needs to be more financially viable, it can't afford to lose any more services, any more people, any more staff. It's running on a very tight ship. So what it needs to do is the income needs to increase. Ways to do that would be to increase sponsorship. Sponsorship isn't really utilised here. It's a university students. Companies are only dying for sponsorship. One example could be Shag Week. Shag Week could be changed to Durex Shag Week. Even what I was saying about the hub, the relaxation hub, that could be sponsored by Monster, by Bull, something like that. Also, another way for the income for students is that they could utilise the empty buildings that are here in the courtyard. There's a lot of empty spaces here, and they could be provided incentives to come here, a rent break for a month or 2 months. Just incentives to set up, and services that would also provide services to increase the quality of life of a student, like a pharmacy. There's no one here, and there's been a great call from the students for one. Furthermore, as well, advertising. On the website, if you increase the traffic on the website, that would lead to more incentive for companies to advertise.
Just before we finish up, then, do you want to tell us anything else? I ran for the campaign because I think that there's a lot of changes that can be done. I think the Students' Union is at a crucial point that it's on the brink of losing contact with the student body. This was shown, like in the referendum, for example, where a lot of students actually voted no because they didn't get enough information. They felt like the yes vote was being coerced on them rather than being given the points and allowed to make up their own mind. AGM as well, quorum wasn't made. It hasn't been made for a while. All these they're examples how not only is the student union not being publicised enough, but how they're not interacting with the students, and it's like two separate things where they're actually supposed to represent. If I'm elected next year, it's my main campaign promise to change this. To all the deans, all the points in my manifesto are going to be done in the public eye. They're going to be done with the students. Like another thing I have is the SU and U's, which is basically where the Sabats, a few times during the semester, they go out, they go for meet and greets in the scholars, just a friendly little kind of chance for the students to meet them, or if there's good weather, pull out the couches to the courtyard, provide refreshments. It'll give a chance for the students to go up to talk to the Sabats in a kind of friendly, casual way, in a way that they don't have. The forum as well on the website that I have, it'll address like all the problems, the small problems around, like flooded paths, signs, problems around that some people consider too small to bring to the Sabats. They can post in this forum on the website in a private message, and the Sabat will be able to directly deal with it. As well as a few times during the week, there will be chat sessions with the Sabat available that they can actually talk directly and deal with the problem. All these will really bond the students and the union together and ensure that closer cooperation will lead to a lot of the issues being solved, hopefully. Brilliant.
Sure.
So, do you have a website you want to plug before we finish, or anything? Or
just the Facebook page, Vote in Foran, the Twitter, Vote in Foran as well, and there will be a link to the blog, because I have a blog going this week. Just I want to put up a few videos, a few pictures, and kind of just anyone I meet, just kind of going around campaigning my experiences, the students I meet, their problems, and letting people know what's happening on the ground.
well, thanks a million for coming in.
Alright, thanks for having me, Steve.
Brilliant.
Cheers.